Welcome back, everyone, to the Outwork stage here in beautiful, sunny LA. I'm delighted to bring you three incredible panelists today, so thank you for being here. We're going to get to some introductions very soon, but in the next 30 minutes, what you're going to hear is three stories about how these brands created better content, better workflows, and much better outputs in the production cycle that they had. We're also going to be looking at some before and afters, so we're going to have a bit of fun looking at some creative today as well. So excited to get into it. Now, let me introduce you to our wonderful panel. So Corey, Lynn, and Adam, I'm going to just take them down the line. They're going to tell you a little bit about themselves and their brands, and then we're going to get into the discussion. Take it away, Corey.
Super. Thanks, Emma. I'm Corey. I lead the brand and creative ops. I have a fan zone. Thank you, Shamika. I love you too. So I lead the brand and creative ops at Docusign. And most of you probably know Docusign as the e-signature company. And that makes a lot of sense. We invented e-signature about 20 years ago. But we've evolved into the intelligent agreement management company. And we as such, our 1.8 million customers, they can create, commit, and manage all their agreements in one, dare I say, beautiful AI-driven platform. And what's really cool for my team is we've sort of been at the forefront of that evolution for 2 years now. And we've relied on Canva for a ton of the work that we've done. So I'm just really happy to be here.
Great. Thank you for being here. And Lynn, tell us about your organization.
Thanks, Emma. Hi, everybody. My name is Lynn Miller. I'm the Director of Marketing Operations at eXp Realty, and we are a global cloud-based brokerage with 80,000 agents in over 28 countries. And we really empower our agents to build their own business, build their own brand under the power of the platform that is eXp. Yeah, so thanks for having me.
Well, great, welcome. And Adam, last but not least.
Yes, hello. I'm Adam Morgan, VP of Brand at Twilio. If you don't know about Twilio, it's basically the communications platform behind any company that's sending out emails, SMS, voice AI, agents, whatever. We do all the communications platform behind all of that.
Amazing. So three very different companies in different brand spaces. Enterprise software, real estate, and communications platform. But what we'll start to understand as we get into the discussion is that a lot of the challenges you all are facing are very, very similar. Certainly around how to actually get the most efficiency out of the production cycles when you're creating content. So looking forward to getting into it. But before we start with the questions, I wanted to play a little game with you all. How about some audience participation? Everyone up for that? We did a lot of that in the keynote this morning. But I would love you to look at these. These are two ads. They are, I'll leave it up to you. Let's spot the difference on these ads. Is there any creatives in the room that have pixel perfect eyesight? Want to give it a go? Okay. The font size? Okay. It's actually, you're right. It looks a little different. I'll actually let you into a secret. Okay, go one more. They're not aligned. Oh yeah, you're probably right on that. But they are actually supposed to be identical. So clearly there are a lot of great creative eyes in the room. But they are identical. But what's very different is the actual process by which this took to actually get to made that content and get to life. So 7 days, 4 meetings, 3 approval processes. Does this feel very similar to some of your organizations? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is this a painful process for everybody? Well, this second iteration, though, really just took 2 hours. Very simple, quick approval processes and out the door. So what we want to do is try and think about that as you're actually listening to some of this conversation today as we go through all the questions. So I would love to start with you, Corey. So tell us the pain that you were feeling at Docusign before you started looking at Canva Enterprise. What was it like? Describe the pain that you were going through.
That's a great question. There wasn't only one pain, though. There was a few. And I think they sort of built up over time. But the first theme of my pain was, or our collective pain, was the quintessential bottleneck, which means or sort of responds to the quantity of humans dictates the quantity of output. So if you don't have a lot of humans, you can't have a lot of output. And that sucks. So we were feeling that pain every day, all day, just hundreds of requests coming in and just getting bombarded. and affecting all of the things that you can imagine. I'd say the second theme that we were experiencing was sort of the request system. To send a request into my team, it was a bit of an obstacle course, like 8 to 12 steps, if I'm being generous, just to get their idea to us. And we did that to ourselves, which makes me sad to say, but it was by design, right? We had to get everything out of the marketer's head and onto our paper, understand their idea, their vision, their channels, their platforms, understand everything, because we were making everything. And so those two things were sort of like the pain points, And we looked at our designers, and they had become a production line. They're just doing production, and they're not doing anything creative, or really, they're not really a design team anymore, Our turnaround for a simple ask was about a week, and that's approximately 6 days too long. And they didn't have any time for all the fun stuff that designers sign up to do, to hone their craft, to design, to have fun, exploration, and pushing the boundaries and all that kind of stuff that they all signed up to do. Our best designers were changing a headline, or swapping a lifestyle image, or 9:16 to 16:9, like just okay, but not great. So we had there was no time for strategy. There was low morale too, I think, both from the marketer standpoint and the designer standpoint, and just like really slow turnaround. Right. So we introduced Canva, and then we made this beautiful non-funnel. It's more of a pipe, I guess. I'm not sure. But we did this. We introduced Canva, and we sort of created this space and this scale where we could all create together. And we're all sort of in there together. And what's wonderful, I was talking to Lynn and Adam yesterday, and the thing that popped in my head, we're using Canva now as like a mechanism for empathy, where I have empathy for our marketers they're the experts at the job. They need to get their job done, but they need something from my team. So I have empathy for that. I want to get them that thing. And then I have empathy for my designers too. They want to design. So then how can I make those two things happen? And it's really, Canva is helping us do that, sort of execute against or with or for our empathy. And it's been very transformative for us. Yeah.
And you have a lot of your team here in the audience.
I have some. Yeah.
Can the team verify this? Is it now better?
Them.
There we go. They're at the back. Nice to have you. All right. So Adam, you had a very similar problem, and you were in a ticketing system too. What was your breaking point? What did that look like?
So for me, very similar. The same pain points that Corey talked about, but the reality is this is a problem that we've had for a long, long time. I mean, not just at my current role at Twilio, but in past jobs. And there are a few out there that we were speaking about this earlier. But it was the problem of consistency. We would have people, in global companies, especially in certain countries, like they just would do whatever they want. They'd go around us and figure stuff out. So we had a problem of making sure everyone stayed on brand. If you look at this, I went back and dug up some really old bad examples. But it was... we had this thing where we'd use like Google Sheets or Google whatever, because everyone had access. But then you had problems where people were putting all the wrong illustrations. On the one on the left where they're putting, graphs over the top of stuff and way too much text, or they're using the wrong font. Then on the right, they're using big new banners and stuff. So it was just like, it wouldn't help us stay consistent. And that's what we craved, was tightening up the ship. So for us, going with a solution like Canva really did solve all that. We could lock down all the templates. They have to be brand compliant. We have thousands and thousands of them, and it's okay because they can just do their worst because we're limiting what they can use.
Great. And then, Lynn, you're in a very different business operation model. You have a corporate office and distributed network of agents. What was the breaking point for you? I can imagine that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and for us, it's really twofold, like you said. So we experience a lot of the same pain points that Corey and Adam talked about, where we were seeing on the corporate side of the house a funnel through our creative team who needed to be working on more strategic initiatives. We also then were managing a marketing center for our network of agents, and managing that marketing center on our staff was also hard. We were going through a third party. Updating templates could take up to a week for something as simple as a copy change. And it was just rigid and tricky to manage that. And then, of course, from the agent's perspective, we've got these 80,000 agents who want access to templates and to be able to market themselves. Our agents, they are marketers, right? They are their own independent business and brand. And so the marketing center we were providing them was too rigid. They couldn't be their own brand and express their own creativity. So we knew we needed to make a change. And in fact, our agents were using Canva anyways. They were going around our process and just using Canva. So kind of when we talk about the now times, that we're in Canva Enterprise, we're able to maintain that compliance perspective for our agents by giving them access to the right logos and the right fonts and all of that, but they also have the ability to customize and do whatever they want. They can use our brand templates, they can use one of the thousands of templates available in Canva, and customize and really turn it into their own personal brand. And the management side of things, we can push updates live out to our agents in minutes, seconds, really. So the management side of it on the operations side of the house is just like way easier. And it's really become that like brand empowerment platform for our agents.
Yeah, amazing. And as you're talking, it sort of feels like you've moved from this reactionary to strategic kind of platform. You've systemized a lot of things in the business.
Yeah, and what Canva's done too, specifically for real estate, is there's a listings app. So for agents, they have the ability to go into the platform, search for their address of the property that they're selling, and pull those details directly into our templates. We go through some like data autofill mapping process so that it's very easy, just with a click of a button, to populate their flyers, their social media posts, websites, and get that out. You know, it actually takes less than 9 minutes for our agents to go from idea to a published material.
Wow, incredible, incredible. And that's what we're seeing behind us, right? This is the MLS integration.
Yep.
Nice. Amazing. So one of the biggest things with the creative production workflow is that it's always harder to find the through line to true business impact. You've obviously done that in terms of the time saved, the efficiency, Len. But do you have any examples you can share where you've been able to provide true business, tangible outcomes, Corey?
Yeah, for sure. I think, we did a lot. We did the same thing as Lynn. I didn't copy her. I was weirdly, inspired by her. But we went to where the users were as well. We went to go meet them in Canva. Same kind of thing. We're like, oh, there's thousands of people in there already. We're just going to go there. And so that just made it easy to do a thing, to find a better solution than what we had before. Everybody was already there. We didn't have to drag anybody kicking and screaming. So going there where everybody was, and then Canva has the enterprise set up that you can just pretty easily set it up. So we did all that. And then what that meant was that the ROI came pretty quick. And like data-wise, from the bottleneck that I mentioned before, 75% of those requests that were coming in are gone. They're gone. They're handled by Canva now. But 75%, that's a lot. And what that sort of like transpired via is 20,000 designs that our users made in the past year. 20,000 designs that my designers, would have been doing themselves. And then that freed up over 500 creative hours. That's a lot of hours to go do some fun stuff with. So we were able to move them off to those like strategic and brand expansion sort of areas. And all this energy and effort in Canva has bred things like this, this is our Canva hub. We build it in Canva on top of our templates. We know our users and what they need and how we want them to get there, so we built this to get them into where they need to go real quick. We use the brand toolkits and guidelines in Canva as well. It's there, so we use it. And using it right there provides the clarity and the guardrails that Adam always talks about. So our users don't feel overwhelmed. They feel kind of safe. They could just go to town, And the reviews and approvals process in Canva too is all just built in. Thank you very much. And like Lynn was saying, our marketers can go from an idea to crystallization to an asset in hand in a matter of minutes instead of the 6.5 days too long that it took before. And that's executing on your empathy, I think.
And so this portal that you have here, is this mostly for the marketing team internally, or do you give this to the organization?
To the organization when they need it, but it's mostly for the marketing team because that's who needs the stuff. They need it quick, they need it now, they need to execute against their vision. So it's mostly the marketing team, but we got folks from HR, from legal, from sales in there as well, workplace experience. Yeah, the more the merrier, It's a good place to be. Yeah.
500 hours. What would you do with 500 hours saved?
All the
that
things.
feels like a lot of time.
Yeah.
I'd probably climb Everest.
Climb Everest? Okay.
Yeah, just thinking.
I would cheer you on from the base. Yes.
All right. And your brand refresh, congratulations. I know that was a very short period of time that you launched. So congrats on that. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, let's pivot to you, Adam. So giving people access to be free and design and be creative is one thing that we all hold dear. But doing it on brand and having sort of really the controls around it can also be challenging too. So how do you think about balancing those two tensions between sort of giving the freedom but also making sure it's within the guardrails?
Absolutely. So we went through a rebrand as well about a year ago, and what you're seeing on screen is just some of the new brand templates that we created. Like after figuring everything out, we really wanted to have more self-serve with all of the whole company. And so we ended up creating, I think in the last 6 months, 3,500 brand templates that we published. And I think we've had like 16,000 designs created from people all over the company. And that's really, really important to give that, that self-serve ability for the team to expand. And if you go to the next one, it shows a little bit of our catalog of like where we just have everything from banners and documents and logos and programs. Like there's just so much stuff in there that they can choose from. But there's an interesting insight that I want to point out to everyone. I don't know how many of you are hearing from upper management that's like, you need to start using AI and go faster. Like, are you guys feeling that pressure?
Come on, everybody's hand should be up right now.
You have to be feeling that pressure.
Okay, that's
and what I
want
to give it a good example of. I was just at a leadership offsite this last week, and I gave them an example of this Canva catalog and saying, all right, what we were doing in that meeting was trying to figure out how are we going to reorganize our marketing department, right? How are we going to be more agile and ready to take on all the different things that is thrown at us and use AI to get there. And I said, this Canva catalog is actually a really good example of that. Because as the creative department, instead of us being the order takers all along that whole funnel flow, right, just like Corey said, instead we're recusing ourselves up at the top, and now we're in charge of just creating the templates, the big ideas, the big designs. We're the inputs. And then those inputs go into this AI big machine or Canva machine, and the marketers at the end are taking care of the outputs. And they're the ones that can go and just be like, I need a campaign for line of business, this audience, this time, this thing, and then just take all the parts and run with it, right? And it's no longer that whole back and forth business in the middle. So this is a really good example of how the future AI workflow is going to be going for many big marketing departments. So I thought it was just a great example of showing how that works.
That's a great example. And Lynn, it was a little bit of a different story for you, right? Like, you know, the idea of guardrails will create scale, but tell us what your experience was with your agents.
Yeah, like we said, we want them to have creative freedom. We do need guardrails from a compliance standpoint, but we don't want it to be rigid. We're not forcing them to use our templates or our brand colors, honestly. If you want to be pink, blue, and green, go for it. Just make sure you use our logo and your state compliant logos. AI for our real estate agents is huge, and it's going to continue to be huge. We're so excited to hear the announcements this morning because for us, that puts so much more control back into the hands of our agents who are not designers. They might not even have design taste, but they are marketers, and they need to get out there and sell themselves. So, you know, to be able to go from an idea as a prompt to a finished piece just by typing or speaking your ideas is huge. And so it puts the focus now on us as the marketing enablement, you know, to make sure that they know how to craft those prompts, how to ask for what they want, and make sure that the top level, the brand templates and all of those materials that they're going to draw from are ready. Yeah.
And has any of you seen a lot more content coming down the line with AI?
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
Was that too fast?
Yeah.
As long as it's quality though, right? No AI
This is on
slop.
brand.
Not AI slop.
Don't be doing it wrong.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the chat today. I don't know if anyone in the audience has any questions that they'd like to ask our panelists at all. No?
Thank you.
One, do you want to be brave and come up and get the mic? We have a few minutes left, so I thought it might be helpful. Yeah, let's do it. Caitlin.
Yes, hello. Here, thank you. Hi, my name is Caitlin. Here, we're going to switch.
Producer says no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, hello. Hello.
Hello.
My name is Caitlin. What I'm most interested in is how did you convince the leaders of your businesses to move forward with the enterprise package given the cost? Was there kind of like the data, the research, how many hours would you be saving, how much money would you be saving, et cetera? Me and my team are currently in that position, and we would like to act upon the things that you guys are sharing today. So,
luckily, Forrester just did a TEI report with Canva, and we helped participate in that. It has all the data that shows ROI, saved time, saved people, all those things. Like, you have it. You can just talk with Canva. They'll give it to you.
Yeah, copy paste that report.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find it. In fact, we have it in our resource kit at the end, so we'll definitely give that to you.
And then if you need, call Adam. Okay.
LinkedIn. Don't call. I'm not giving out my phone number. Only do a couple of people.
Thanks, Caitlin. All right, well, look, before now we can wrap up. I wondered if you had any words of wisdom, profound statements that you would like to share with the audience. Everybody's looking for tips and tricks on what to do next. Tell us, who wants to start?
I will.
Adam.
Consistency while still giving freedom for self-help. Self-guided. That's perfect.
Love them.
Yeah, and I'd add to that. And for me, it's like operational clarity is going to result in creative quality. So cleaning your house and then let them play.
I'm going to steal something from my colleague Ryan Clark over there. Thank you. He tells me this all the time. And I've labeled it the design scale mindset, which is never design the same thing twice. So if you can look for patterns and build the systems around that, you'll just unleash your designers and everyone's just going to be rocking and rolling and having a good time.
Love it. Love it. Thank you very much. So our key takeaways, I guess, there's kind of three themes that we feel like maybe came up in this conversation. The first one is that dual transformation matters. So you're not going to be able to create more content without fixing the very important workflows and the production process that goes behind it. The two working together is just a thing of beauty. And then strategic capacity is the ROI. So you heard from Corey about the 500 hours saved, new brand refresh done in a very short period of time. Really that through line to...
Do you want this one?
No.
Do you want this one?
It was so important. It cut me off. It's like the Oscars.
That's funny.
And then the final one is better systems, not tighter controls. So you heard some really good examples from Lynn and Adam on that too. Yep. But that really is about creating templates and brand controls and all the things that help govern a lot of the usage in a workplace. So if you want to dive more into some of these stories, we actually have a resource kit for you. The QR code is right here. This is also, I think we have the TEI report on there as well. So please check that out, download it. We have lots of good information. But it's been a greatest pleasure to have my three amazing leaders doing awesome things in the world. So thank you. And we'll look forward to the next session.